are still admitting people. Heather, I might have to have you watch it because I don't know if I'll be able to see them as they come in. Sometimes I can. Oh yeah, I can. Ruth got her. Okay. Um, okay. We are going to go through the market update from that Gary shared at Mega Camp. It should still be pretty good. Not a ton of rates have changed, so that might be one of the only things that's a little bit different from this. But for the most part, it should be pretty good. So he starts with the U.S. economy. Some of these I took really great notes on to share, and I know more about than others. He basically said, and we've all heard Gary talk about this, and I've taught this to you guys for years, but one way to look at the economy is you really look at where GDP is, what the cost of money is, what inflation and unemployment is doing, and then lately we threw in the tariffs, and then government policy certainty. So all of that stuff does have a play, and when it comes to the economy, which then rolls into the real estate market, right? So some of this stuff he went through a little bit deeper. I'm not going to go as deep on that one, but we'll start here with GDP. So sometimes, and you guys will remember this, but anytime that this is broken down in quarters, and anytime that you see, no, I'm sorry, this is annually. Does he have a quarter one? No. Okay. So on the annual one, we can't tell on this, but anytime that you see 2 to 3 consecutive quarters in a negative GDP, that is typically when we feel that we know that there is a recession coming before the rest of the world knows that a recession is coming because of where GDP is. But right now, GDP is actually this year projected to be up. If you can see back in 2020 when everything kind of hit the fan, with the pandemic, we had negative GDP for 2 quarters in a row, which really we ended the year negative that year. But 2025 is projected to be up, not quite as up as last year. 2024, we ended at 2.8%. So that definitely has come into play. Unemployment also this year, we are looking to have, it's looking to be a little bit higher than last year, 4.5, as opposed to 4 in 2024 is where we landed. You can look back at unemployment in 20, of course, when the pandemic was, just to give you a frame of reference, and it just completely shot through the roof. So it is going back up a little bit, which this one always, you guys, just blows my mind because I feel like everybody is, I don't know, it's weird. I feel like you go places and like they say that they don't have any help, they can't find anybody to work. And then you look at unemployment and there should be plenty of people who need to find jobs. So I don't know. It's this one is like a little bit baffling to me. But what we do know is when we have a lot of unemployed people, those people can't buy houses. So it does definitely affect us as in the real estate industry as well. Here's unemployment job openings. So you can see from May of 2020, look at that spike. It's absolutely insane. 20.94 million job opening or unemployed people at that time, which is just wild. But then as you can see now, it's kind of leveled back out to right around 7 million unemployed people and 7.4 million job openings. So just continuing to watch that. Inflation, this is definitely has changed a lot. They are projecting that we will end the year pretty close to last year. I mean, maybe down a smidge on inflation. I don't know, excuse me, if you all, by the way, the orange is actually including gas and food, and the teal is excluding gas and food. I always pretty much go by the orange because we all have to eat and we all put gas in our vehicles for the most part. So that's typically the one that I pay attention to. But you can see, I mean, inflation was so high in 2020 and 2021. And it is coming down a little bit. Oh, that's true. Dylan. Okay, I take that back. If you have a Tesla, you are not putting gas in your vehicle, but you might be using it in another way. I don't know. Good. That's true. Very valid point, Dylan. But we are looking for inflation to come down just a little bit. And then you're seeing it's projected. The average that we really want is around 2%. Like that's kind of the norm. That's where you really want it to be at, where we want inflation to be at. And they're projecting that we won't get closer to that until the end of 2026. So it is coming down a little bit. It is coming down a little bit and getting a little bit better. I still feel like stuff is really expensive. Will y'all put in the chat do you feel like stuff is still okay? Yeah. I know many of you are saying yes, but I just feel like it is still expensive. I don't know. Seems like just every time we go out to eat, it's $100 and we don't even drink. So I mean, it's just crazy. If you put alcohol on top of that, it's so high. But it's just interesting to me to see that. So, okay, now we'll move into the real estate industry, and this is the part I know many of you guys really like to see. Annual home sales. So we ended 2024 right about the exact same as 2023. We had two very similar years in a row. They are projecting a tiny uptick in 2025, although it seems to me, and we track the numbers like a hawk, but closings are down year to date for all of our offices, and I'm wondering if that's a sign that's going to tell us that Q4 we will see an uptick. It seems like people right now. Will you guys just type in the chat? Are you busier, slower, or would you say normal right now? Just curious because we have people on from all over. Busier, no, slower, or normal? Busier, slower, busy. Who else? Unless y'all are driving. Don't type if you're driving. It's interesting because I feel like it has been 50-50. People are either busier, Diane busy, Michelle same as last year. Yeah, people are either like busier or they feel like they're a little bit slower. It's just kind of interesting to see. But so we are projecting about 4.2 million homes sold that will end this year in 2025. So just a very slight tick. Actually, Stephanie, that's a really good point. Yeah, business is up, but feels so hard. Yeah, I feel like everybody feels that way right now. And that's just being in a shifting market, which you know that. But deals are definitely harder. In fact, this week, several people said that they've had multiple deals falling apart, like just buyers falling out nonstop. So in our top Rainmaker Mastermind and Individual Agent Mastermind on Friday this week, I think we're going to talk a little bit about that. But yeah, it's definitely a little bit harder in a shift. So good news is not projected to go down, which is definitely a positive. Liz, brand new. So this is baseline. That's right. Only it from here. Perfect. Yes. Great way to look at it. Here it is broken down. You can kind of see annually with the trends versus not. So seeing just a smidge of an uptick this year. But if you guys remember last year when I did this and in several other market updates that I've done, I shared with you all that most of the predictions will be that we will have slow upticks over between now and the next 7 years. So not necessarily going down, trending downward, but not like the massive jumps that we've been used to and then massive drops the last couple of years. It will stay more steady with like little tiny upticks over the next 7 years. And that's this year already in year one is going to show that. Here's home sales monthly. You can just see this year compared to last year. I mean, pretty close, really. January this year was busier than last January, but everything else has either been a little less or right spot on, which just leads me to believe. But if you look, Q4 definitely trended up in 2024. So my hope and prayer is that we will be trending up in 2025 in Q4, and everyone, will either continue to stay busy who is busy, or we'll see a little bit of an uptick if you are doing the right activities. But I mean, we really went up in October, November, December last year. So hopeful that will be the same. Home prices annually. So going up, but not as much. And you can see we are still way above the trend line. Actually, right now we're 8.3% above the trend line. And Gary really says that we need to get back to the trend line as much as we can. You guys may want to write this down. They did tell us a third of all the buyers in Q1 of 2025 were investors, which is wild. Also, which tells you that this moving into a shift, and some of you who have been around or been in the business longer than 14 years know this, but anytime a shift happens, if you can pick up one or two great investor clients They will usually sustain you through a shift because this is already 2025 is already showing to be true with Q1 show. I can't wait to see what the year ends at, but Q1 alone, a third of the buyers being investors. Yeah, Ruth, my investor list has tripled this year. Investor business is up this year, which is right on trend. Totally. Yep. Yeah. So for those of you that are newer, or don't work with any investors, that might be something that you're putting on your 2026 business plan or on your GPS to either find an investor, grow your investor business if you're already working with investors, because we will definitely, I promise you, see the trend of investors buying uptick. It'll get more and more and more the more that we go into a shift. Because he said right now we're in the market of the moment. And so anybody that's buying, just remember, with home prices, staying in your home 10 years plus, you'll be fine. Remember, it's the people that get screwed that buy at the top of a trend and then have to sell, the next year or the next year or whatever. But if you're buying and you're staying, and even if you're buying above the trend line, but you're staying in your home, or you're planning to stay in your home for 10 years, then you're always still good trend wise. And history proves that you're always still good. So we aren't as high above the trend line as we were last year, but we're still pretty well above the trend line. So projecting this year. Oh, sorry. Hold on. I think Frankie's stuck at the gate. I hear him crying. I might have to run and grab him. Yes, I will, or he's going to start to bark. Projecting this year to end 2025 with an average home sale price in the United States of $418,000. Obviously, we'll need to get more local with that. You all know what your local average sales prices are, and we share those in the office usually every month as well. Let me grab him, guys. Sorry. Those of you that know he will just bark the whole time. Come on, buddy. Okay, let's go. So say hi, Frankie. Henri, y'all, he was being so bad this morning. I just gave him a hot dog. And he didn't want his food. He wouldn't have anything. So I just fixed him a hot dog, and he lived his best life eating an all beef, grass-fed, organic hot dog this morning. I'm to the point where I'm like, whatever, just do whatever. I'm that mom. Okay, 418,000 home sales price. Inventory, definitely up. Wow. This is a good thing. It is going up. It is a good thing. 5 months is where we want to be. And as you can see, I don't have July or August numbers on here. And again, will be different for local markets, but we were right about there in June. 4.7 months of inventory, and a good, solid, steady market is 5 months. I know that freaks some of you all out because you're like, what in the world? But 5 months is really where we want to be to get back to the trend line. The thing about that is buyers love it. As you all know, sellers don't love it. So it's a different conversation. It goes back to the class that I taught earlier in the year, the market of the moment, just really having your conversations with your sellers dialed in really good, because sellers don't like a market like this. Buyers love it, sellers don't. So you just have to really pay attention to that. New home starts. We just didn't build back up enough new homes over the last couple of years. Same thing. We're still below the trend line, or not the trend line, but the long-term average, kind of the same thing. We just had a really hard fall in 2008, 2009, 2010. I know many of us, me, Stephanie, can't see who all's on right now because it's only let me see like 3 people, but a lot of us represented builders during those years, and it was a very hard fall. And we just have still not recovered from those years. So still just not building as much. Land is more, a lot of things go into that. Land is more expensive now. A lot less builders in the business than there were then. So lots of things around new home sales, but we do need more new home sales, and we need more entry price new home sales. So, that might be something on 2026 goal list too, but anytime that you can work with a builder, especially, in finding land, anything you can do to create more new construction homes on the market is always a very positive thing. Mortgage rates. So on this slide, in August, they were hovering like right around 6.72. I know they've come down a little bit. They were like, then they dropped to 6.5. I actually don't know what they are today. I have been on Zooms all day, so I'm not sure if anybody knows.
Melander said mid-6.
Okay, so same 6.5, yeah, or close to it. The projections are that we would be somewhere around 6.7, mid 6s. ending the year, kind of the same thing. Last year, 2024 averaged right around 6.7, kind of the same thing. I know it's so crazy with the rates. I mean, you hear all kinds of stuff. It depends on what channel of the news you watch. I mean, there's just so many different things that go into it. But what I really want you all to take away from this is that 6.5 is still good. It's normal, right? It is 100% normal. The historical average from 1972 all the way to 2023 was 6%. So the closer we can get to 6%, the better, and that is normal. I'm sorry, I lied. That the historical average from 72 to 2023 was 7.72%. Just since 1990 to 2023, it was 6%. So people who have been buying and selling homes, you know, the boomers, I guess you would say, like they're used to above the sevens. So just the closer we can get, and we even said 2 years ago, I remember teaching this or doing one of these Zooms and saying it will take 2 years for people to feel like 6 is the new normal again. And we're about there. I mean, there are some people that are still like, I'm just gonna wait till I can get a 3. No, you're never gonna get a 3. So we have to get really good at our conversations of being able to visually show them things like this. I know many of you all still carry around the laminated one that I gave you if you're in my offices. The last couple of years, we need to do a new one because they've updated, but still showing the 7 and 6 is about the average, the historical average. So just getting really good with your conversations around that, and then here they just have it broken down on a monthly level. But you know what? One thing Gary said, I'm just looking at my notes that I thought was so true. If any of you have ever tried to get a loan or worked with like a hard money lender, like Gary said, no one in their right mind would loan you money at 6%. Like, I mean, the best you're getting from a hard money lender is probably 10. And so Gary, his point in saying that is like, this is still a good number. This is still a good interest rate to borrow money at. We just have to help people readjust their mindsets around thinking, because it might be on one of these slides. We'll have to keep going through it, but there's just so many people that either own their home free and clear or are at a 3.5% or lower interest rate. So those are just going to be the ones that are the have tos, right? Like they have to move for a certain reason. So it's finding the motivated, one of the shift tactics. Affordability ended last year right at 33%. I mean, we're typically we've been anywhere between 20 and 27%. It would be great to get that down. People would feel more comfortable buying homes. Volume per agent. We will likely have the third best volume year in the history of the industry, which is huge. Which is why a lot of agents are feeling like, well, I'm still making great money, even though we're selling less units, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, you all. I mean, who doesn't want to make more money and have to do less transactions? Everybody, right? That's why your goal is to increase your average sales price. Our historically and nationally over the last couple of years, that has happened for us. As you can see by going back to this one of 418,000, right? Even if you go back to 2023, the average sales price closed at 390. So I mean, jumping up to 418 from 408 last year, like we are still continuing to up the volume, which then ups the volume per agent. So projecting now this year to end right around 3.2 million. Many of you are way above that, but volume per agent closed. But if you are way above that, the point is to just look at it is trending up. We are continuing to trend back up, which means that even if your units are down, your GCI is not down. Okay, Canada market. Okay, oh yeah, there's just one slide. Okay. I don't think we have anybody on from Canada, but if you want to see it, there it is. They're about the same. Canada's flat, for lack of better words, last year to this year. Okay, these are the ones that I love the most. Method of home purchase. As you can see on this, 88% of people are still using a realtor. That is fantastic news for us. Still, the major numbers are not changing. Is the thing here. I mean, maybe they're down 1% from last year, but for the most part, the majority of people are still using an agent or broker to purchase their home. And then followed right behind that our builder or builder's agent, so going to a new home rep, right? And then purchasing from a previous owner. So maybe just going straight to them. But it's still, the numbers are still huge. And it's actually crazy because even if you look back to say 08, 09, more people were purchasing straight from builders than they are now. There were more builders then, of course, but even the numbers of people who are using an agent or a broker to purchase their home are up. I mean, it's continued to trend exactly the same. So that's a great story for you all to continue to tell, by the way, instead of, people jumping on and not hearing what I would call fake news. What buyers say they would prefer in the home buying process. So in finding a home, these actually shocked me, y'all. 48% prefer a person. 23% trust an AI tool to help them find a home. 29%, 30% trust both equally. If you have not been getting to the AI classes and in all the AI training that we're having in our offices, like I'm telling you, most of all of these notes that I have are all on AI. Dylan can attest to that because I drive him nuts every day about helping me with AI stuff. But it's just wild. I mean, even my one-on-one with Gary, I mean, he said, this is a direct quote, I wrote it down. How fast are you going to adopt this and implement it? Because there will be haves and there will be have-nots. And some of you all, by the way, I'll be reaching out to because I'm doing I committed to do 2 case studies a week between now and the end of the year, to interview some of our best agents on how their business was either prior to being with us versus being with us, or some of those things. But the reason I'm doing that is, 1, because we want to highlight our agents, and 2, because all of those are going to go straight to AI so that I can help our agents be recommended by AI. We can help our brokerages be recommended by AI, because that is so important. I mean, and these numbers tell you that, and it continues to tell you. Oh yeah. Dylan is teaching a class on getting recognized by AI soon. Yes, I would highly recommend everybody being that. Even if you're on and you're not with one of our offices, you're welcome to jump on. Because we're going to walk you through. We literally have these step-by-step one-pagers for how to get AI to recommend you. And not to squirrel on this, but just to give you the why behind it, because I know some of this will just go straight over some of your heads. But if you look at the history of how realtors got business, we used to want to be recommended only by our clients and consumers, right? So you used to take ads in the phone book. Will we see when the class is scheduled? Yes. Actually, yes. Heather, can you put that in the chat, pretty please? Dylan's AI class. It's coming up, and it's this month, and it's on Zoom. I just don't have it readily right in front of me, but we'll get it in the chat for y'all.
I think it's the 22nd.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. We'll get the link. Oh, you know what? It's the 24th. I actually just found it. Heather will put it in there. She probably are. Yep. 24th.
I'm doing the 24th for one team, and then I'm doing in office on the 22nd. So you and Stephanie are both right.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. So anybody in the local area,
Yeah,
I'm doing in office on the 22nd. I'm doing on Zoom for the one team on the 24th.
Perfect. Yep. There we go. Perfect. I'm going to drop it in the chat field too. Let's see, it's coming. Okay. So, but the reason is because as realtors, we used to want to be recommended by just our clients, right? Like that was the thing, to be recommended by our clients. And then over the last couple of, maybe, I don't know, decade probably, we wanted to then be recommended by search engines, right? So like that's why people were paying Zillow, Realtor.com. You were paying to show up on Google. You were paying to be recognized. Oh, Heather, for once in my life, I beat her. We should recognize this moment. Just kidding. Thanks. Sorry, I didn't know you were putting that in there. I thought you were just putting the date. We wanted to be recognized by search engines. Well, now recommended. Now we need to be recommended by AI, because the stats that they showed us, I don't have them on slides to show you, but the stats that they showed us are more people. And I'd be curious to know if you all are doing this in the chat. You could chime in, but instead of going to Google and saying, I want to buy a home in Dublin, Ohio, what realtor should I use? They're going to ChatGPT and saying, I want to buy a home in Dublin, Ohio. What real estate agent should I choose? Like, people are going to their AI platforms and asking things before they are going to Google now. Like the percentages have flip-flopped. So we have the exact system down to be able to help you guys get recommended by AI. Finding a mortgage, you can see homeowners insurance, legal assistance. But to me, it was just wild to see that 29% of home buyers said that they trust an in-person person as much as they trust an AI tool. Next up is what's important to buyers when working with professionals. This spiked big time. Gary actually talked about this. Yeah, here it is. So 80% want comfort. So here's what Gary said. Comfort is the most important thing across the board for buyers. They want to be comfortable with you. They want to feel comfortable in the process. They want to feel comfortable working with you as a human, above the fact that they want convenience and loyalty. It's comfort. So I haven't really gotten, like, I need to deep dive on this, and I haven't had the time to do this yet. But one thing y'all might think about is just going through your processes and seeing how comfortable are you making your people feel, your clients feel throughout the home buying or selling process. I don't know, we need to chat GPT it, but but how can we continue to make our clients more comfortable? They're working with you, they're either comfortable or they're not, but then how can we make them feel so much comfort throughout the process? Because 80% of them, that is what they care about the very, very most. And that has switched this year. Next, he talks about the internet revolution versus AI revolution. This might go a little bit into it, but this is just mind blowing to me too. So you can just see how much money is truly being invested into AI versus into the regular internet. It is so much more. So if you look, investment creates value, speculation creates bubbles. I mean, billions and billions and billions look at this, 154 billion compared to 3 billion on just internet as opposed to AI. It is definitely not going anywhere. It just reminds me of, I'll never forget when my papa was still alive and Facebook came out and he was like, that's the dumbest thing. Why would you want to get on and look at what people are doing all day? Like, he could not get over it. And I'm like, I don't think it's going away. And he's like, that is so crazy. And now it's Facebook. Like, Gary, to go back to what Gary said, you all, there will be haves and there will be have-nots. And how quickly are you going to adopt and implement? And I love watching, I know you all know Lauren Lucas because she's taught classes for all of us and she just does such a great job. But I saw her story this morning and she said, like, within the next certain number of days, she has 42 or 46 speaking engagements, like the next 30 days, or it was like something crazy. But it's because everybody is doing the most that they can to learn about AI, and the leverage of it. Gary goes over what he calls the story of adoption. And so you have this, this is really good. You have like the launch of something, right? And as time goes on and people begin to adopt, then you have this bubble and it's like, okay, wow, people are like really understanding it. They're really seeing it. And then there's this turning point that happens where something either totally drops off or it matures and you have mass adoption. And right now with AI, we are in this turning point where it's like people are just massively adopting it and it is turning into a major mature thing. That's not going away. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So that's it. The slides were shorter this time. I would love to just share a couple of other key points with you of notes that I had written down. Let me stop sharing my screen. Any questions on any of this too, by the way, before I stop sharing, and I'll give you just a couple more points. Thoughts, questions, comments? That's okay, Chris. I'll still
You said something. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Steph, go.
You said something that we've encountered a lot, that not the deals falling apart, but we had a conversation. One of our clients works nearby and stopped in to see us this morning. And, buyers aren't afraid to get out of a house because there's another one. When there's 15 to look at, they're more picky. Like, it needs to be perfect. It's all back to the prep has to be on point. You can't have dirty baseboards. Like anything, we laughed. We were like, oh, is there a meth house next door in 2023? They're like, we don't care. We'll just
don't
try to
care.
get them to
Yeah.
stop. And now they'll live that, or then they would like live with the guy making meth just to get a house. And now they're like, oh, that bush on that neighbor's yard looks bad. I'm not buying this house. Like it is, they're so picky because they can be. And it's
Yeah.
just a mindset adjustment. And that's why when the inspection doesn't go perfectly, they use that due diligence to get out because they know there's another house out there.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, that's truly, Stephanie, though, I mean, and you know this, but I mean, that's a buyer's market. That is the definition of being in a buyer's market. And even I personally experienced that. I looked at a house in Lexington when I was there just a couple weeks ago, and I really have been wanting to get in this area down in 40502 for several months now. And I liked the house, but the neighbors had like 900-yard ornaments outside. And I was like, nope, not happening. I can't pull in the driveway and look at that every single day. Where even before and at the price that it's at, I was like, no, it's not happening. But if you're totally right, because even just 2 years ago, just trying to, because you needed anything, like you made different exceptions for things that buyers aren't willing to make exceptions for anymore. Yeah, we are in a buyer's market. Ruth said, what else did Gary say about comfort and defining what that meant for a client? He didn't really say how to define it, Ruth. He basically just said that it is the one thing that 80% of clients care the most about. Comfort is the most important thing across the board for your buyers. Figure out how to make the process more comfortable for your buyers. So he didn't necessarily say how, but I do think that there's something to that. That's why I think maybe we can chat GPT it, but also going through and looking at all your processes and just ways that you make people more comfortable. And another thing, and this is like a, sneaky little tip, but in testimonials and in stories that you're telling online, like I would start to use the word comfort and comfortable, and having your clients, maybe that's even a probing question that you ask them for testimonials. Like, can you talk about how comfortable you were in the process? Because that word wasn't a part of what they were looking for until this year. And now people are wanting to feel comfortable again. So, making I just saw Lori Lynn that you're on, and I'm just thinking like, I'm sure every one of your clients would say, I felt so comfortable throughout the process of working with Lori. So maybe even just getting them to use those words and that language so that in other people's minds, because also don't forget, you guys, 67% of consumers in 2025 are making decisions based solely off of the testimonials. Like that is it. So another big thing for this year that I took away from Mega Camp too is like, we have to get way more testimonials, and we got to put them everywhere. They need to be on websites. They need to be on your social. I mean, and it really is best if it's coming from them. Like if you can get a video from them, if you can use their family photo, whatever it is, but upping testimonials is huge, because those numbers are not going away. I loved one thing. This isn't how to sell more houses, but I loved what Gary said. Gary said, never forget that realtors get to do the best three things out there. They get to look at real estate all day, they get to work with people, and they get to negotiate. And normally, like, people are like, I want a job where I can work with people. I want a job where I can do the thing that I love. And Gary was like, don't forget that. You as a realtor get to do all three of those things. And those are three of the best things out there. Work with people, look at houses, look at real estate, and negotiate and work deals. Like you're in it, you're getting to do those things. And so he said, just don't ever forget that. A couple of other big, just like market update type things. Your goal now, and we just touched on this, but he said your goal now is to become the most known and trusted brand in your market by humans and by AI. And that is the sole goal of a realtor between now and the next 5 years, to become the most known and trusted brand in your market by humans and by AI. And a lot of you have that by humans. I mean, many of you, your brands are huge in your local markets, but you've got to lean into the AI. And we are we're doing whole months on AI classes. You can go back on the One Team YouTube and watch some of the recordings too. But we're really leaning into now training you all to how you actually get recommended by AI. Two quick things that you can do that you have to do. You absolutely have to do these first. You have to create free accounts on FastExpert.com and homelight.com. some of you may already have those. We are like getting ready to start calling through the roster of our top 20% to make sure that you all have those, because those are the two platforms that ChatGPT is using to pull agents and brokerages to recommend. So if an agent goes onto ChatGPT and says, I'm looking to buy a home in Grove City, like unfortunately, they're actually not right now smart enough to pull who has sold the most homes or whatever, right? They're pulling people who have profiles on those two websites. And we don't know why, but that's what the AI experts told us. And we tested it, and it was very true, because it actually recommended a brokerage in Kentucky who has like tiny, no market share basically, but they show up on Fast Expert. So we're getting everybody to get free, make sure you have free accounts on Fast Expert and HomeLight. And then another thing, yeah, Dylan, yep, perfect, yeah. Ruth said, I have every one of my coaching clients on those. Yes, and they're starting to appear everywhere. They had valid leads coming in, at least. That's so good to hear, Ruth. I'm so glad you said that. See, it works, y'all, I promise. You don't need to like buy leads from them. You don't need to pay anything. You really just need, well, I take that back. You need to create your accounts, but you need to have 100% full profiles. Like your profiles have your picture, have some testimonial, anything you can do for free, like load it up, because that's what ChatGPT is recommending. And I want ChatGPT to recommend you all, not the people who sell no houses, but show up because they have a profile. Yes, perfect. Okay. Yeah, perfect. Another thing he said that I thought was really good, current, just industry wise right now, is he said, sometimes if you're really wanting to go all in on the AI, Dylan and I we're talking about this and doing this. He said, you really need 2 accounts. You need one for you and you need an incognito account, because don't forget, your ChatGPT is smart and it knows you. So when we were hearing this, we looked, and Dylan and I asked ours, like, what broker what agent would you recommend in Richmond, Kentucky or Lexington, Kentucky or wherever? And then Dylan had his wife ask the exact same thing, and their response was very different, because it knows that we work with Keller Williams, like that's all the things. So it is kind of interesting. And another thing in that it's picking up on, other than Fast Expert and HomeLight, our blogs are back. Like the stats around blogs, you all, insane, very high. And ChatGPT is pulling a lot of recommendation from blogs. They just want authentic, real online information. Marcus Sheridan, one of the speakers, he gave us a lot around that. I kind of thought blogs were like, 2010, but no, they're back. They're back in a big way. And so even if you can, I know it's a lot and I don't want it to suck up y'all's time, but AI can also help with that so much now. So if you have a website, if you are anything that you have that you can even start posting some things on in a blog format, I know a lot of people are using Substack now. Influencers are using that like crazy. But you need some sort of something. And then, yeah, Dylan, branding and continuity is very important. Make sure everywhere matches. Yeah, very true. HomeLight, Fast Expert, LinkedIn, all the things, bio, profile, pictures, yes, photo. Yeah, you should have continuity across all of those. Don't make everything look different, or AI gets confused and then they're not grabbing you. They're not picking you up. I have so much. Let me see what else was really good of the industry. A lot of it was just continuing to be human. Videos. I mean, I feel like I just preach this ad nauseum to y'all, but video, 82% of the time spent on the internet right now is on a video. So the more video, the better. I mean, people are winning with video, in major ways. He said, utilize ChatGPT to help you come up with video titles, video ideas, just all of those things. But video, 82% of online time is spent on some sort of a video rather than like a photo or a article, or so it's video. I mean, that's huge. Let's see. I think I already shared that. Hold on. This was really good about current market right now too. That Jay Bear guy shared. He said, you want people to say that they cannot believe how human you are after they do a transaction with you. So like continuing to stay very human, very real, very authentic to people is huge. And so he said, in all things, you should be thinking, how can this be more personal? How can I have more patience with them so that they're more comfortable? That leads to the comfort thing. And how can I be more perceptive? So he said mainly like perceptive to him means reading the room or reading your clients or just really being perceptive to their needs. Which I think is so good because, the last few years we've been in such a fast-paced market. We haven't had, I shared this in my class, but we haven't had the opportunity to really go deep and build the relationships like you can in a slower market. And relationships are what build a business. They're what creates lifelong referrals. Many of you know that. I don't need to tell you that. He said, this was good, in a world full of robots, just be the best person. And I was like, that's good. I like that. He said, in a downtime, do two things, more activities and sharpen your skill. And that's, we talk about that in the shift book all the time, but just do more of the activities and then get better and better and better. Sharpen your skill as better and better and better as you can. And I actually just recorded this video yesterday morning and I told the story of, some of you will remember him, but Tim Grover, who was the coach for the greats, right? Like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade, so many greats. And Tim Grover got his start, really, he kind of became famous by coaching Michael Jordan. Well, he said that when his story is that when he very first started, he wanted to be a coach, he wanted to build his brand. He wrote a personal handwritten letter to every player of the Chicago Bulls. And he said he did not send one to Michael Jordan. Stephanie will remember he didn't send because Jordan was the untouchable and he already had a great coach. So Tim Grover said, I'm just going to send a really human handwritten letter from the heart to all the other players. He got 0 phone calls. 3 months went by, 4 months went by, and he gets a call from a guy who said, Michael Jordan would like to have a meeting with you. And he was like, what? How? Like he was thinking, Michael Jordan, this has got to be like a joke. I didn't even send him a letter. And so Tim Grover, of course, said, yeah, like set it up. I would love to meet with MJ. And so they met, obviously had a great relationship, great bond. And Tim ended up coaching Jordan for years and years and years. And that was really what launched his career. But the premise of the story was Tim tells the story of when he asked Michael Jordan at the end of the meeting, hey, I'm just curious, like, why did you call me? How did you even hear about me? How did you get my number? And Jordan said, I was in the locker room and all the players were talking about how they had all received this letter. And he said, I was curious because I hadn't received the letter. And he said, I was like, what are y'all talking about? And he said, and Tim said, but the thing is, I didn't receive one phone call from any of those other players. And you're the one who reached out and I didn't even send you a letter. And Tim said, Michael Jordan looked at him and said words he'll never forget. He said, I reached out to you because the best of the best are always looking to get better. And I like, that's literally still gives me goosebumps to this day whenever I tell that, because that's so true. I mean, the best of the best are always looking to get better. And many of you all on here that I know personally are the best of the best. And so even in a downturn, like you have to keep getting better. You have to sharpen your skills and then you have to do more activity because we are in a skill-based market, period. Like right now, we are not in a personality, charisma, whoever smiles the most wins the most. No, we are not. We are in a skills-based market. They are going to go with the people who they feel like have the best skills and now make them feel the most comfortable. So you can't remember that. And then he said, just to sell and stay, you have to dominate the market. And that's, I mean, nothing new, but sometimes it's not learning something new, but remembering what is true, right? I mean, you just have to dominate. You have to have the mindset of dominating your market. And then last thing, gosh, I have so many other things, but last thing I'll say, just that replies to this is he said, just remember that being human means transparency, empathy, and consistency. And so if people are wanting more human in their real estate transactions, that's more transparency, more empathy, and more consistency. So just how can you do more of those 3 things to continue to grow? All right, guys, that's all I got. Any questions, thoughts? Thanks for being on. Thanks for getting better. you're getting better because you're being on. Learning. Awesome. Thanks, Kyle. Thank you all. I hope this was helpful. Anything you need, please let me know. Have a great rest of your week and go get in an AI class. That's my ending tip. Go take Dylan's or watch a video. See you guys. Thank you.